Once upon a time, in a grand kingdom surrounded by towering mountains, there lived a young prince named Rohan. He was in his early 20s, with a strong athletic build that reflected years of training in swordplay and combat. His deep brown eyes burned with ambition, and his tousled dark brown hair often fell slightly over his forehead. His skin was sun-kissed from countless hours spent outdoors, training under the sun. He wore a deep blue tunic embroidered with golden patterns of his kingdom's crest, secured at the waist with a brown leather belt. A small dagger rested at his side, a mere accessory, as he believed his own strength was all he needed. Over his shoulders, a dark red cape flowed, symbolizing his royal status, and his sturdy, well-worn boots carried him with unwavering confidence. But for all his strength and determination, Rohan had one great flaw. He was impatient. One day, he stood before his father, the wise and noble King Aldred. The king was an elderly yet regal man, his long silver beard flowing over his royal blue robes, lined with white fur along the collar. His deep-set eyes, the color of stormy skies, carried wisdom that came with ruling the kingdom for many decades. Upon his head sat an ornate golden crown, adorned with sapphires that glowed like the stars. In one hand he held a wooden staff with a carved dragon head at the top, a symbol of the kingdom's ancient power. His posture was calm, his presence commanding, and his voice, though soft, carried the weight of knowledge and experience. Rohan stepped forward, his voice filled with excitement. "Father, I wish to climb the tallest mountain in the kingdom. No prince before me has done it, and I shall be the first." The king stroked his beard and smiled gently. "My son, climbing the tallest peak is no easy feat. It takes training, endurance, and wisdom. If you wish to succeed, start by climbing the smaller hills first." But Rohan scoffed, crossing his arms. "Father, I am strong. Why should I waste time with small hills when my goal is the highest peak?" The king sighed but did not argue. He knew that some lessons could not be taught with words. They had to be learned through experience. "Very well, my son. If this is your wish, then go. But remember, the mountain is not kind to the unprepared." The next morning, Rohan set off with great enthusiasm. The people of the kingdom cheered as he marched toward the mighty mountain, convinced their prince was about to make history. He carried only a small pack, believing he wouldn't need much. After all, he was strong. What could possibly go wrong? For the first few hours, everything went smoothly. The sun was shining, and Rohan felt unstoppable. He laughed, thinking how easy this was. "Perhaps my father worries too much," he muttered. But then, the mountain began to reveal its true nature. The air grew thinner, making each breath more difficult. The steep slopes became treacherous, covered in loose rocks that slid beneath his feet. The sun that once warmed him was now hidden behind thick, cold clouds. His legs ached, his stomach rumbled. He hadn't brought enough food, nor did he know how to find it in the wild. The wind howled, chilling him to the bone. Still, he pressed on, refusing to admit he had made a mistake. Then the storm came. Dark clouds rolled in, swallowing the sky. The wind roared like a beast, and icy rain pelted down, soaking Rohan's clothes. His hands, numb with cold, struggled to grip the rocks. He could barely see through the thick fog. For the first time in his life, fear crept into his heart. He was alone, unprepared, and lost. "I should have listened to my father," he whispered, clinging to a rock for dear life. Just when he thought all hope was lost, he heard voices echo through the storm. "Prince Rohan!" Out of the mist, a group of royal guards appeared, their silver armor gleaming under the flashes of lightning. They were elite warriors, clad in navy blue cloaks that billowed in the storm. Their faces were stern yet determined, their eyes trained to spot danger. Each carried a long sword sheathed at their side and a sturdy round shield embossed with the royal emblem. Though they looked formidable, their purpose was not to fight, but to protect. The king had sent them, knowing his son would need help. They wrapped Rohan in warm blankets and led him safely down the mountain. Back at the palace, the king greeted him with a knowing smile. "My son, what have you learned?" Rohan bowed his head in shame. "I was foolish, father. I thought strength alone was enough, but I see now that preparation and patience matter just as much. If I had trained first, if I had listened, I would not have failed." The king placed a hand on his son's shoulder. "Failure is only the end if you refuse to learn. Train well, and when the time is right, you will climb that mountain, not just as a prince, but as a king." And so Rohan spent years preparing. He trained his body, learned survival skills, and climbed smaller mountains until he was ready. When the day finally came, he stood at the peak of the tallest mountain, not as a reckless boy, but as a wise and worthy leader. Moral of the story: the greatest achievements in life don't come from rushing ahead. Every great journey requires preparation, patience, and perseverance. Strength alone is not enough. You must build your skills step by step before reaching the top. Did you enjoy this story? If it inspired you, like this video, comment below, and subscribe for more powerful stories filled with wisdom and life lessons. See you in the next one.